Hello and happy Tuesday. I hope everybody's weekend has been good and productive and relaxing and recuperative, and I hope that your Monday has treated you well also. We're going to get into it. Let's get into it. All right. I want to start with the fact that I think that social media is great. I think social media is a wealth of information, sometimes biased, sometimes inaccurate, and sometimes very infuriating. As you guys know, there are a lot of impressionable younger people on social media that have grown up with social media in their life. Most of us, grew up in a time where there wasn't a MySpace or a Facebook or an Instagram. We grew up without it, and it wasn't until a little bit when we got a little older that we had access to those things. Because I don't know about y'all, but my parents did not let me have a MySpace, but I did it anyways behind their back. My sister helped me set it up. It's a long story. I was a rebel. But I love social media. I think it's great. And I see a lot of informative content on social media, especially on TikTok. El TikTok. But I was scrolling, as one does, right? And I came across this meme, or not, I don't even want to say it was a meme. It was a post, right? That said, hold on. Psychology says to never express too much love, affection, or care to someone because it's human tendency to underestimate anything that's free of cost. Okay, first of all,
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something. All right. Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
I have to preface everything that I'm about to say by stating that we are not objects. People are not objects. All right, you're not something to be sold or bought. All right, I don't care how you try to slice it with things and oh, you really are bartering your body for blah blah. No. Do away with that toxic mindset. All right, you are not to be bought or sold, and this is not gender specific. This is, you're a human being, right? Sex trafficking is a thing, and it is not only illegal but extremely frowned upon for many reasons that I don't even think I need to state. All right. That being said, you know, I like to debunk things. When I read this, my first thought process was, this is the stupidest fucking thing I've ever heard. Okay. That was my first fucking thought, was that was the stupidest thing I've ever read in my life. All right. Now but even still, I wanted to look it up. Like, okay, is psychology really saying that you as a person shouldn't give affection to people because, or out of fear of, or out of the fact that psychologically people don't respect something that's given to them free or freely? Now, there's a lot to dissect there, right? First of all, it starts with who you're giving your love to, all right? Let's start there. So if you are giving yourself to somebody that is otherwise emotionally unavailable or unable to reciprocate because of their own personal trials and tribulations, this can be a number of things. This could be abuse from when they were younger that they are still battling with in their adult life. It could be stuff to do with their family. It could be due to trauma by a past relationship. It could be a number of fucking things, none of which have to do with you, right? Most of the time. So that being said, depends on who you're giving your love to. Now, if you're giving your love freely to somebody that, let's say, has an anxious or insecure attachment style, yeah, they might not be able to show appreciation or respect for that. Or it might go on the other extreme end of the spectrum where they are a little bit too much, right? There was a study, because this is the only thing. I have to start with that. This was the only thing that I was able to find that was even remotely close to this blanket post about psychology saying that you shouldn't give love to people. Blah. So, through my research, I found it's called the liking gap. Liking gap. Liking gap. All right. The liking gap translates to a person's tendency to underestimate how much other people like you following an initial conversation. There was a psychologist, Erica Boothby, with a bunch of her colleagues, who published a series of 5 studies in which strangers would have conversations with each other and then evaluated how much they liked their conversation with their partner, and in turn how much that partner liked them. So they had to evaluate, they had to sit down and, either discuss with the researcher or write it down and submit it, how they felt about the interaction and how they thought the other person felt about the interaction, right? So it was basically like, man. And I'll link the study below so you guys can look it up and do your own research, because I think that is valuable for people to read. So they concluded that people reported liking their partners more than they thought their partners liked them. Shocker there. A lot of us have grown up in a childhood where they may have been told, not to put themselves on a pedestal. A lot of us aren't naturally inclined to feel like, oh, you know what, I'm up here, right? This is, I'm important and I know that everyone is going to like me, right? And this is not to say that people that do think that way are conceited or self-absorbed. Now, you have to understand that you aren't going to have one conversation with somebody and they're going to instantly fall in love with you. That's not how it always works. I mean, I'm not going to say never. Never say never, because that might happen that way for some people. However, when you're having a conversation with somebody and it's a positive experience for everybody involved, everybody feels pretty good about the interaction. Most of the time people are going to be like, oh, I like this person. It's not going to be like, oh my God, I love this person. It's going to be like I like this person, right? Generally. And with that said, like I said, that was the closest thing that I could probably find, which is not in any way close, and that's saying a lot, was the liking gap. The liking gap, which was the study of a person's tendency to underestimate how much other people may like them, right? I feel like we often get caught up in the complications of what's being fed to us in the media, right? 10 ways to get a man or a woman to fall in love with you. First step, sell all your worldly possessions and sacrifice a bunny. That's step number 1. Put the bunny down. It's going to be okay. It's truly more simplistic than it is ritualistic. All right? Because I know a lot of single folks out there who are trying to figure out, how do I get this kind of interaction with somebody? How do I get this kind of blah? Insert blank, right? I know a lot of single folks out there that say shit like, stop telling me that love is going to come when I least expect it. And while I know it might not be that helpful, it's important to dissect what that actually means. Does that mean that a perfect partner is going to fall out of the sky like an ice cream truck in SpongeBob? No. However, when you're in a space and you're working on yourself and your personal development and you're trying to figure out what it is and why it is and how it is you want it in your life, time tends to pass a lot quicker. And that's mainly due to the fact that you're not sitting there and watching paint dry. And I posted about this before. When you're sitting and you're watching paint dry on your fucking wall, it feels like it's taking forever. But if you walk away and you do something else, you watch a movie, you have lunch, you go out on an excursion, whatever, and you come back and you're just like, wow, the paint's dry already? Key phrase, the paint's dry already? Yes, the paint's dry already because you were focusing on other things while the paint was drying. You weren't sitting there and watching it dry. You have to think of it that way. It is like with a lot of things in life that we might be waiting for, right? And this, like I said, this doesn't mean to say that when you're doing these things that Prince Charming is going to come and kick open your door and kidnap you. You know, you should continue to take care of yourself, and things just happen to fall in place when you're doing that. And when you're going through these stages, right, of learning about yourself and loving freely and giving that love, right? And it doesn't work out, right? You're in a situationship, you realize person A didn't work out, and person A gave you either a positive or a negative experience. You have the option or the chance, the opportunity to learn about what you gained from that situation. What did I learn from that interaction? Did John Doe give me a positive interaction? Did he give me affection at a level that I deemed acceptable and wonderful? Or did John Doe give me affection that I identified as lacking and, you know, for lack of a better word, horrible? You know, in my life, because I've made a lot of impulsive decisions in my life, I have discovered that I've never regretted something that I did. Not entirely. But there is a long list of things that I regret not doing, you know, backing away from and deciding, you know, and it was usually done out of a sense of fear. It was usually holding back out of a sense of fear or insecurity of, oh man, if I do this, then this is going to happen. No. And that usually doesn't yield the best results. I mean, either way, I don't believe in accidents and shit is going to happen. However, you need to learn from these experiences. You're being put in these types of experiences. You put yourself in these types of experiences to develop. Your mind is being put in these situations to develop. All right? And like I said before, when it comes to these very false, misleading psychology facts, quote unquote, you got to do your research. And you got to take your ego out of things when you're doing your research, you know, when you're trying to find things that make sense, that are actually accurate when it comes to psychology and the way your mind works. I find it very valuable to be able to look up these things and understand these things, because it's going to help you understand how you operate and how other people and why other people operate in certain ways that they do. It'll give you a better understanding. I mean, it probably won't give you the same understanding that somebody that has clinical training in the field of psychology and the human mind, but it's a good starting point. But, you know, and I've said this before, humans are built naturally to give and receive love. We are built naturally to give and receive that love. That's why love feels so wonderful. That's why there's a whole bunch of fucking chemical cocktails released when we receive love, because our mind is meant to receive those things. We are meant to receive that. We need those things to be able to grow and to thrive. And I will even go so far as to say that the quality of your life, a large part of the quality of your life, is going to stem from the quality of the relationships that you have within it. The quality of the relationships that you have with your friends and your family and in romantic situations. Your life is going to, the quality of that life that you live in is going to be largely associated with the quality of the relationships that you have within that life. Obviously, there's other things like how you care for yourself and, you know, your financial situation maybe and all this other stuff. But that, again, those are material things that you can gain and lose very easily. But, you know, it's a little bit harder, you know, with emotional connections. It's not as easy for somebody to come and pluck a person out of your life. And speaking on human behavior, though, you know, because I had to break down that second part of the statement, kind of switching gears a little bit. You know, some people might ask, like, oh, well, no, it's true. People take other people for granted if they're giving them a lot of things and they're there. It's like, okay, yes, you could play the psychology game of give and take. the cat and mouse. I'm going to give you a little bit, then I'm going to disappear. I'm going to give you a little bit, I'm going to disappear. It's a little bit manipulative. It's not really my type. I personally don't choose to do it. Some people are comfortable with that. For me, I'm just like, no, if I like the person, I'm going to articulate that I like the person. It's just like, hey, I really like your face and I would like to see it more often. Hey, I really like being around you. I would like to be around you more often. And I don't really like to be around a lot of people anyways. I like my own space. Everybody in my life knows that. But when it comes to taking things for granted, psychologically, yes, we tend to take things for granted that are secure in our life, take for granted. But I feel like that's largely confused with a more negative connotation, a more negative meaning. Because when it comes to taking for granted, right, that means to say that you don't feel like something is going to go away. You're secure in that connection. You're secure with this item or this person or this relationship. You're secure that like, oh, you know what? I know that this person is going to be there. And an insecurity of losing a person, right? Again, this could have to do with a lot of things in your life. And this is up to you to try to unlock with either a therapist or within yourself doing your own shadow work. However, this could be due to, trauma that you have, insecurity of somebody always leaving you, right? So you need that consistent reassurance, right? And you're constantly there. But there's other people that just don't have that insecurity type. So they're going to be like, oh, you know what? John or Jane Doe is always there for them, always there for me. So if I reach out to them, I know that they're going to respond back. I know that they're going to hit me back, right? I'm not worried about it. I don't need to check in with them or babysit them. And other people are just like, no. I need you to tell me I'm okay. I need you to tell me that you're there all the time because I don't believe that you're going to be there. Again, that's more associated with an insecure attachment style. That is not to be confused with the overused terminology of narcissistic behavior or emotionally abusive behavior, where somebody is telling you things and then doing something dramatically different. So if somebody is consistently telling you, yes, I want you in my life. Yes, I want you to be there. Yes, let's go out on Tuesday. And then Tuesday comes and they're just like, no, I don't want to go out on Tuesday. I told you that I don't like going out on Tuesdays, but I never said I wanted to go out on Tuesday. And then if somebody continues to do that, you're going to develop a more insecure attachment style around this person, around this specific relationship with this person. And it feels like they're taking you for granted. But no, they're outright being kind of rude. They're being mean, right? So it's important to understand the difference between somebody that's being emotionally abusive and somebody that's demonstrating a certain level of secure attachment. So if you're making plans with somebody and you're consistently in communication with somebody and they're always following through, but you only see them maybe once a month, right? They don't talk to you every day, but they do talk to you once a month, once or twice a month. They're demonstrating a certain level of secure attachment in that relationship. They're demonstrating a certain level of security in that relationship. And it's important to be able to discern what's the differences. But all in all, love is great. Giving love and receiving love is great. And, being able to do it without the fear of being disposed of or being unappreciated or doing all those insecurities that come with giving somebody affection, especially if it's a new person in your life. Or it could be somebody that's in your life, right? That's currently in your life. Giving it without that fear is important. Learning how to give it without that fear is important. And it's something that you learn to do over time once you identify that it's a problem. Because you can only fix it once you've identified that there's a problem. That's the whole point, right? Love, 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 love as hard as you can 1,000,000 times over and don't stop doing it. And learn when things don't work out, learn from the experience, learn what you'd like to do differently, learn what it is you want for yourself and at the capacity that you want it for yourself. And, the right things will come for you. What is for you will not miss you. I can't say that enough. What is for you will not miss you. So if somebody leaves and they're meant to come back, they're going to come back. If you leave and you're meant to go back, you're going to go back. Just relax. It's okay. It's going to be okay. I love all of you guys. I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye now.
Singing in the downstairs bathroom, voice of an angel. Can I get a glimpse? Thinking I could use a rinse too. My body's